So the time is finally here. Well, kind of sort of here. The game I've been talking about since last year, maybe early 2022 or late 2022. We finally got the demo for him. We're talking about Metaphor ReFantazio or ReFantazio, however you want to call it. We finally got the demo, and not only is this a not just a regular, 5-minute introductory. This was a full on, if you played on the hardest difficulty like I did, it took me a little under 8 hours to actually play through. So we got this prologue demo that came out last week. Your progress carries over. You go through around like 2.5, 3-ish dungeons, if you want to call it that. You get a full, overview of the game, how to play, all the mechanics and everything to really set you up for when the game comes out on the 11th, which is next Friday. Now, I did, capture some of my gameplay, some of the story and cutscenes and things like that, and I just want to talk about my experience with it and see if you guys, really want to give it a shot. I say just try it anyway. The demo's free. If you're a fan of Persona, Atlus, those type of games, Shin Megami Tensei, you'll definitely like this game. So let's get right into my review of the demo. Listen, this game doesn't waste any time when it comes to getting going with the story. We get a look at just what pretty much sets off everything in this game, which is, this guy Louis or Lewis, however you want to say it, probably Louis because it's like medieval times, and he just straight up commits regicide and just ends the king's life like right away from the opening scene. And then we also find out that he also put a curse on the king's son many years ago. So he's been plotting for a while now. And this is where you come in. So you come in as what they call an elder, and you realize this world is really, really bad. Like there's a lot of racism and just tribalism and things. Like you're actually being treated differently based on just who you are, what your beliefs are. Just honestly, just the equivalent would be like the color of your skin in real life. And it's just like, why is the world like this? Why are elders considered so bad? So people are saying that they bring like diseases and misfortune, and like people are just treating you like trash. Like even with their dying breaths, people are like, oh, you're the reason I'm dying here. Don't touch me, things like that. Like they just, it's really, really bad. And now what your goal is you're going to the capital to hand off this secret message to give to a ally of yours to tell them, like, hey, we need to save the prince who's been put under this curse by Louis, as we know. We need to figure out a plan to get him back. How are we going to do this? And that's pretty much where the story goes. And now you also have the main theme of this whole game is the fact that after the king died, his like spirit comes back and says like, hey, no matter whether you're, a pauper or royal blood or this tribe, that tribe, it doesn't matter. We're going to determine who's going to be the next king and ruler based on, even if you're a criminal, it doesn't matter. Based on it's literally a popular contest. So the main thing of the game is you're going to be going around doing different quests for people, things like that, different, just get your notoriety up, helping people out regardless of who you are to try and become the king. Now, like other Atlas games like Shin Megami Tensei and Persona, there are some similarities. Like we can talk about the battle system now. So the battle system is you have an overworld like, every other game, like the dungeons and things like that. And then you kind of decide if you're actually going to fight enemies or not. So starting off, these enemies are pretty strong. You don't want to just go after them. You can't really tell their levels and things like that. You can fight them if you want. And then there's different ways to fight. So you can go and attack them from the back, kind of like in Persona, except you can defeat the enemies in the overworld. So you won't have to jump into a whole full-on battle every single time, and you have an advantage by doing this. Sometimes you'll do some more damage to them, they'll become stunned, so then when you do fight them in the actual battle, you'll have a real advantage. But as it goes with an advantage, it'll be a disadvantage if they hit you first. Now, I snuck past the first group of enemies, but then the second group, I was like, okay, let me at least try to see it. I just got absolutely destroyed. It took me like 3 hits, and this group of hyenas just absolutely ended me. The other cool thing I like about the game is just the fact that there are all these different types of like anime cutscenes. Like, yes, there were cutscenes and things like that in Persona, but not nearly as much as this game. Like, I feel like they put their budget towards making this like almost a mix between the anime show and an actual game. So you'll just be going through a dungeon and a cutscene will just start in the middle, and then you'll go right back into battle and, you know, playing like normal. So it's pretty cool. Of course, you could pick up different items, things like that help you out. Now, the real way the battle system changes with this game as opposed to Persona, one major difference is the fact that you can battle from the front or the back. Now, if you fight from the back, your melee attacks are not as strong, but your defense will be up. So if you know there's a turn where maybe you're not doing that much damage and you're just having a role player or someone who uses more magic type battles, it'll make more sense to be from the back. Also, enemies have, you know, their weaknesses and things like that. If you exploit an enemy's weakness, it'll only take half of your turn away from you. So you'll actually be able to go twice in that turn. So you could be smart. You can even pass along to another type of or another party member to actually battle, and then they can attack, and that'll only take half a turn as well. So there's a real strategy to the game. Sometimes you will, you know, I was playing on hard difficulty and had to play all over again, but you know, it's just, you know, live and learn how you do different strategies and things like that. Now, of course, like other Atlus games, once you finish a battle, you will get experience, money, even a different type of currency called magic, which you will use to level up your archetypes, which we can get into right now. Now, your archetypes are pretty much what Persona are in the Persona series, right? You have different types of attacks outside of your melee weapons where you kind of transform into this other being. The only difference between the Personas and this is the fact that in the regular Persona games, you can pick whatever Persona you want, but party members, they can only be whatever, just one Persona. In this game with the archetypes, you along with everybody else can actually transform into any archetype that you are willing to pay money for, and you trade that you know, that ability over to them, which makes like the game add a whole different layer where you don't have just you choosing between everything or you leveling up everything. It's like, okay, you want to use a certain archetype and then go with that strategy, and then you can give other people those other archetypes, level those up, and just mix and match a lot better than you could in Persona. And even how you get these archetypes, the whole like cutscene and everything, you go to this other world, you have, you know, this voice speaking out to you, and kind of like in Persona 3 where you would kind of shoot yourself in the head to kind of transform. In this game, you'll actually pull into your chest and actually pull like a metal heart out. Now, I'm not sure exactly why that is the animation for this, but it is one of the coolest things. I'm not gonna lie. Like I don't know why it is. I don't know who or why they did that, but it's just one of the coolest transformations you could have in a video game. And of course, these archetypes are of different types, right? You have some that use magic, some that use slash weapons, some that use piercing weapons and things like that. And as each one of them kind of evolves or they get unlocked, you have to form bonds with these people, right? You have these people in your party and you can get those bonds stronger, similar to Persona with the, you know, social links. So we got my boy Stroll here, who we just formed a bond with, and then you see that archetype gets unlocked on this map right here. And then anytime later in the game, I'm sure, because it's early in the demo, there'll be different things we'll have to do together, and that'll, you know, strengthen that bond, and that'll rank the archetype up. You even start this bond with this guy named Moore. So similar to the Velvet Room that you have in Persona, you have the, I don't know if they're calling it Academia. It's basically this pretty big library. You don't know why Moore doesn't know why he has his memories or doesn't have his memories and things like that. So you're pretty much coming here to do your little upgrades, but also you are helping him do research so he can regain his memories and then figure out what's going on with this actual story and the whole, you know, how everything's going to play out and the history and the future of everybody and everything. So you'll be coming back to Academia or Academia, however you want to say it, to unlock, you know, more ranks, to add more archetypes to different characters to use and things like that. And that's pretty much it. I thoroughly enjoyed the demo. I didn't want to go too in depth with this because I'm going to do a full review once the game comes out and I finish playing through it. But again, like I said, I played through the hard difficulty, which took a little under 8 hours, like 7 hours and 56 minutes. I had to replay a few bosses a few times, especially that dragon right behind me, that guy. Yeah, I had to fight him like 4 times. The other thing y'all should know is if any of your people in your party faint, just like in Persona, they don't get experience for the fight. So I tried to do a strategy where I had my main guy that didn't die. So, because I could have beat him. Actually, I did beat him without my main guy, but he didn't get any experience. So I tried to do it again. So that's just one thing to keep in mind with this. So again, your mileage may vary. If you play on a harder difficulty, I believe the enemies get more turns to go. So that naturally makes the game harder, as well as just makes the game longer because there's more turns going through. It's a turn-based game. But I definitely recommend it, man. From everything from where they're headed with the soundtrack, the style, the cutscenes, the anime. I mean, just look at this menu. Like, as I'm going through the menu, like I was just going through it just to be able to look at this everything, just the different colors, the different animations, the different. It's just very interactive, keeps you really in tune with what's going on and everything like that. And they just, Atlus tries to make it where no part of the game is boring. You're going to be captivated by every single aspect of the game. So I definitely recommend it. Download it. It's free. PC, Xbox Series X and S, PS5. Download it. I think PS4 as well. Actually, no, it's not. I think it's just next gen. I don't know. Either way, download it on whatever you can. Try it out. And then come back here and let me know in the comment section below what you thought of the demo and what you think of Metaphor ReFantazio. I think Atlus has another one on their hands. They had Shin Megami Tensei, which is very good for its battle system. I think Persona is really good for its story, and I think Metaphor is fitting somewhere in the middle. It's the best of both worlds from those two franchises. So y'all let me know. Again, if you have not subscribed already, do subscribe to the channel, leave a like on this video, and I'll catch you on the next one.